Okay, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another episode of Software Explorations. Today is Sunday, December 24th, 2023. It is currently Christmas Eve, and I have to fix this camera real quick. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but we're going to do it right now. Let's see. Boom, done. All right, cool. So, it is Christmas Eve of 2023. Welcome to the show. We are, guess what? Although it's Christmas Eve, it's not Christmas Eve until it goes dark, right? And we are going to continue to get to work. Today, it's going to be a somewhat special show. Our first Christmas Eve together. And what I want to do is my tech barbarians have been building an app. A lot of them first time in tech, trying to transition. And I've been leading them through the way of how the software development process works, how the Scrum works, all that good stuff. And they have built an app. So we are going to work on deploying it today. Yep. So I want to get them something live. But wait a second. Just 1 second. If you do not know who I am your host, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. Yes, we are. So I sometimes get carried away. I'm like so excited to get into the show, and I'm like, I didn't even introduce myself. So here we are. I am Tech Coach Ralph. Like I said, we are engineered to win, and we're going to be going through. We're going to try to deploy the app that my Tech Barbarians created. And in my Tech Barbarians, I have some people doing QA. Some people doing development work. Some people who are have a data engineer in there, have a video editor, UI, UX, all that, right? So what I want to do today is go through trying to deploy the app that they built. So we're going to be researching how we're going to deploy it, what's the best way to do it, what's the associated potential cost to do that. So it's just going to be, and we're going to see if we can do it through Terraform, all right? So we have a lot of work up for us today, but we're going to try to get through it quickly because, it's Christmas Eve. There's things to do. So we're going to work that out, all right? So before we get any further, though, before we get any further, right? I want to give a special shout out to my good friend, Operation Tech Takeover.
I appreciate you.
He was in the chat early before the show ever went live, And he said, peace and blessings, family. Merry Christmas Eve, broski. Merry Christmas Eve to you and your family as well. The past few weeks that we've been communicating, that it's been a pleasure to communicate with you. And there are big things in store coming in 2024. I know you are working tirelessly every day. And I just want to say that it doesn't go unnoticed. And, big things are coming. So just keep on pushing. All right. So shout out to you, Operation Tech Takeover. All right. Now we are going to go into our agenda for today. But you know what? Before I do that, I need my drink because I'm still recovering from this cold that I had, and I can feel that my throat is going to get dried out if I don't run and get it. So give me 1 split second to run to the fridge and get it. All right. So with that being said, we are, and let's see what Operation Tech Takeover said real quick. He says, "Thanks for the love and encouragement, bro. You are a huge inspiration to me." Hey, I'll tell you this, right? The way that I see it is we continue to build on and build off each other so that there's things that things that I see that hopefully I can add value and insight to you. And then I'm sure there's things that you see that you share with me that adds a lot of value and insight to me. So, sometimes the main key is like getting connected and then we can figure it out from there, right? So just we're going to just continue to build and we're going to continue to grind. We're going to continue to work together. And we're going to make this an amazing 2024. All right. So let's jump into our agenda. So we are going to be talking about Terraform, but it's going to be a mix, right? Like we're going to be doing some more investigative work than we are going to be doing Terraform. So we're going we're going to be looking into some options on how we can deploy our application, all right? But first and foremost, what I would like to say is thank you to all the latest subscribers.
I appreciate you.
I truly do appreciate you. Just continue to let me know if there's any type of content that you want, any type of value that I can add into your life. Just let me know. I am always looking for ideas, discussions, whatever the case may be, right? So definitely looking forward to that. And I want to say a big shout out to my Tech Barbarians and my Tech Elite Plus, who are, and like to all the members of the Patreon, right? I hope that I'm adding value to you. And I hope that, I just hope that the information that I put in there, it's helpful, it's informative, that it is steering you right in your quest to get better in your field or to transition into that field that you're trying to transition into. I take my coaching very seriously, and I want that. My main goal is to add value into your lives, right? So shout out to all of the Patreon members. And next, with that being said, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live, every time we drop new content. Like the video, share the video, all of that. And check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev. That's where you can sign up for one-on-one coaching sessions with me. And we can level up your technical skills. There's also content in the Patreon about, questions to ask when you are in an interview, because they're always going to ask you, so do you have any questions for us? And that can make or break the whole moment. All right. So definitely check out those videos in there to help you get ready for your next career, So I just wanted to share that with you. Now, let's get into our live show schedule. We have the morning show, Coffee and Kata, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:15 a.m. Eastern time. It's pretty early, but a lot of you guys are on your way to work, and you can tune in and hear hear some news stories, and then listen in or join me in our coding challenges. We've been going through rock paper scissors challenge. We've been doing Git challenges. We looked into some CTF type stuff. So many different options out there. And we're just exploring. We're just stimulating our minds in the morning to wake us up so we can be very productive at work. And then we have Sunday afternoons, so this afternoon, where we have software explorations, where usually on Sundays we're going through Terraform. We are going to look into some Terraform today, but it's going to be slightly different focused. Tuesday nights, we have Q&A sessions. I had to cancel last Tuesday because I was so sick, but I am back, and we're going to be doing some Q&As this coming Tuesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. And then Thursday nights, we have more software explorations. We have so much software explorations, right? We have more software explorations where we do, different type of challenges. They're not necessarily challenges, but we look to learn something new and how to figure things out. We just finished up Grafana last week for our SIM integration. So that was fun. And we're going to figure something else out to do this coming Thursday, all right? We always put in the work. We do not have fun until we get our work done, all right? So work first, have fun later. And that is the philosophy that we go by here. So one more time, the live show schedule is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Coffee and Kata in the morning at 7:15 a.m. Eastern time. Sunday afternoons, software explorations, where we're going through Terraform. Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions. Thursday nights, more software explorations. All right, so shout out to the live shows. And we have our pre-recorded show content, which is Mondays, Candid Conversations, Wednesdays, Software Explorations, Fridays, The Bug Bite. And I'll tell you this, right? This past Friday's Bug Bite about the Tesla Optimus Gen 2 has been going crazy. Some people love it. Some people absolutely hate it. And some people just hate Tesla and anything that Elon Musk stands for. It is what it is, but I had so much fun doing that video. I just love the concept of robots and stuff like that. So if you haven't seen that video yet, I would highly, highly recommend that you check it out. Go have some fun, right? Go have some fun and see what Tesla and Elon Musk is up to, all right? And then throughout the week, we have Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. We release clips from our Q&A show, which happens on Tuesday nights live. We release clips so that we can put these little clips into bite-sized digestible pieces, because sometimes you just can't sit through a whole 2-hour stream hoping to get one question answered. So check those out as well, and those come out Monday through Friday. Always trying to add some type of value, and then scattered throughout the week, we may have additional content, whether it's a short, whether it's another video, something like that, right? So definitely, that's why I say you have to hit the notification bell so you can stay informed of all the content that's being released, so that you can find something that is going to be useful to you. As you can see with the live show and the pre-recorded show, there is something here for everyone, all right? So definitely, that's why I say share the videos with your friend, share the page with your friends, so that you can help them level up in their technical skills, all right? So next things up, I wanted to share one of my favorite challenging resources, and that is Chaos Camp. My good friend Don does an amazing job with Chaos Camp, always providing the latest challenges, the latest, and they help you get better in coding. They help you get better in QA and your critical thinking process, right? So I would definitely highly recommend that you would go and check out the GitHub for Chaos Camp. The link for Chaos Camp is in the description of the video, and you can see the different type of challenges that Don has over there. The one that I've been working on for the past month or so is the rock, paper, scissors challenge. It won't take you that long to work on it. The reason that I've been going through it over the last month, because I've been dedicating about an hour Mondays and Wednesdays, about an hour to work on it and live stream it with you about like how I'm working through it, my different strategies for doing QA all of that, right? So, but for you, if you put a good 2 hours to it, where you're not live streaming it or sharing what you're doing, you just work on it, then you're going to level up your skills like that, and it's just going to be great, right? So I would definitely recommend you check out the Chaos Camp challenges. Another thing that you should be looking out for is my friend Socks channel, right? It's at free range Socks, where he has in the next few weeks coming out Socks University, where you can get a head start into your cybersecurity career. He describes it as the boot camp for the boot camp, right? It gets you. It's like the prequel, right? And it's gonna get you ready so that once you get into your program, whether you're going to university, whether you're going to a boot camp, you're going to be comfortable. You're going to know what's being spoken about. So I would highly recommend you check that out. All right. All right. So that is where we are at for the moment. But I need to, like, my throat is it feels like itchy. So I need to crack this drink open. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, right, is at work this week, I had the opportunity of actually getting to use Terraform, right? And it was an interesting experience to say the least. Why was it interesting? All right. So here's what always happens when you are following a guide or a course or something like that, right? There is the quote unquote the perfect way that it's going to work if you follow it like step by step, and then there's a way that it's going to work in the real world, right? And that is one of the reasons that like I never really followed the course to the T, because I would take like the challenges that they're showing or like the projects, and then I would say, all right, I am going to adapt this to one of my personal situations, something that I need to use, so that I can think more, I can have a better use case instead of like the weird use case that they're using that I probably would never come into or imagine or something like that, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna use my own situation. But even with that, right? Because like, so for example, we would use trying to deploy the Chaos Camp, trying to start a Selenium grid and stuff like that, and all that. We figured it out. It worked great. But here's what happens when it comes into a work situation, right? The way that a course is teaching you to use, for instance, Terraform, right? It is from an individual perspective. It is from so my credentials are stored, like I have to log in and get my own credentials and everything like that, right? The difference though, where you can that you're going to run into, like now if you have to use it in a work environment, is in an enterprise or corporate environment, the way that they have Terraform set up is going to be 99% of the times different than you working on it in your own individualized workspace, right? So the script itself, the Terraform plans and stuff like that you're writing, those might be just about the same, right? Like, so for instance, what I was trying to do was I was trying to set up a Elastic container registry, right? The ECR. And that all worked great and stuff, right? But then the error, like not error, but the problem happened was, okay, the way that I have the access, right? Like, so you remember we were setting up the credentials and stuff like that inside of like a provider file and things like that. But the problem that happens is that the way an enterprise environment sets it up is most likely going to be totally different than how it's set up on your personal local machine. So now we have to figure out the identity and access management policies on, all right, which user should be able to create this repository, right? Or which profile, which identity, things like that. Which environment should this live? So even when you know how to do create the actual resources, but you still need to figure out, and with that, you're probably gonna have to work with maybe someone from infrastructure, or maybe another more experienced developer on, okay, I have the actual work, right? So the core of what needs to be done is taken care of, right? But now you have to figure out, okay, where does this thing live? Who is the user that would be able to create it, and then trying to figure out like how like that configuration of the identity and access management policies work, and do you need to go and update that to give that profile permissions to be able to create, or that role permissions to create the whatever resource you're trying to create, right? Because different the organization has their own policies set, right? So even though you know exactly what you need to do, and you have the code to do it, the question is, all right, now we also need to communicate with the right people to say, okay, what is the right place for this to live? Who is the right role to create it? And now can we go ahead and update that role to include the permissions to be able to do X, Y, and Z, right? So I wanted to share that experience with you because I think that is a very eye-opening and great learning experience that a lot of times we learn the foundational things on how to do like a new thing that we're learning, like Terraform. But where we run into a pickle or a jam is that the way that we're learning is totally different than the way that it works in enterprise environment. And now we need to adapt, and we need some additional assistance so that we can be able to get that environment like working the way that we want, So that was the roadblock that I ran into. I actually had, and not to mention, right, in the course that we're going through, we're just doing it like by setting up the secret key and the access ID and all that. But if you are using if you're using like the Terraform enterprise thing, where like you log in and then you apply it from there, you're not doing like a Terraform plan from your local machine like we normally do, then there's different learning curves, and you can think it's going to work and then you get an error and so many different things, right? So that I just felt that I had to share that with you so that you can like not lose faith in the things that you're learning, but know that there are going to be some curveballs thrown that you're just going to have to figure out how to hit them and continue to learn, continue to grow, right? So so many things to do, so many things to learn. And I just think that was a great learning experience, and it was a great opportunity to share with you all on what happened when I went to use Terraform at work, and how I'm going to say I got 95% of the way there, right? But then the part that I got blocked on was it actually creating the resource, because I just need to figure it out with either my team or with infrastructure, like what is the way that we need to go, the route that we need to go, so that we can insert we can get that resource created by the right user with the right permissions, because those little considerations, like they matter, and we just want to make sure that we do it right, So just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully that you found that helpful. I was very happy that I had the opportunity this week to try to put what I'm learning to use at work, and like when I provided like the code review for what I brought up there, it went very, very well. So So I felt very comfortable and confident in like potentially doing some more Terraform stuff in the future at work. And I just now like getting into that roadblock is like, all right, cool. Now once I figure out this part, whether I have to go and go into the repo for the identity and access management roles to make updates there, or we need to modify something on our end in or on my end in the actual Terraform plan, then it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and we're just gonna go from there. We're gonna but I think that if we didn't take on this project this week, we wouldn't have been able to fail 95% forward unto our initial goal. We would have just continued to be behind the starting line, not working on this. So I just wanted to share that. And if you have any questions about that, any insight, let me know. But I was very, very proud of that. All right, so that was my Terraform experience at work, and we are about to get started into working in a bit. But I would like to ask you again, if you found that helpful and informative, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live, every time we drop new content. Like the video, share the video, check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev. And with that being said, I think we need a little bit more energy.
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
All right, so we are going to sorry for the Marco Rubio sip, but we are going to put 20 minutes on the clock, and we are going to talk about our implementation strategy. So let's go for 20 minutes.
It's time to do.
All right, so here is where I'm at, right? The app that we built and that we are building as well, because this is just going to be an MVP release, right? It is built on Node and Express, right? It can, and I also have it Dockerized, right? So I was going between deploying it using AWS Fargate, which we did on a live stream the other day. AWS Fargate is containerless, serverless containerization, right? We did a live stream on it where we deployed. What did we deploy? Did we deploy? I think we deployed rock paper scissors. I don't know. Most likely because that's what I'm always using, but I think that's what it was. But then also there is AWS Amplify, right? I also use AWS Amplify to host the time cost calculator, right? So I'm like, all right, which one do I use? Do I use the AWS Amplify or AWS Fargate? I'm not 100% sure yet. So let's do a quick recap on what Fargate is, right? And then we'll look at AWS Amplify, right? So let's go to our shared screen. Let's zoom in a bit. So AWS Fargate is a serverless pay-as-you-go compute engine that lets you focus on building applications without managing servers, which is great. Moving tasks such as server management, resource allocation, and scaling to AWS does not only improve operational posture, but also accelerates the process of going from idea to production on the cloud and lowers the total cost of ownership, right? So that's awesome. So that's what we read last time. But then there's also AWS Amplify, right? AWS Amplify build full stack web and mobile apps in hours, easy to start, easy to scale, right? So what is Amplify? Amplify is everything you need to build a full stack web and mobile app, to build full stack web and mobile apps on AWS. Build and host your front end, add features like auth and connect and storage, connect to the real-time data sources, deploy and scale to 1 million of users, right? So with that being said, all right, which one is the better to use, right? So like I said, I use AWS Amplify for the time cost calculator. So if we use AWS Amplify, it will pretty much be going like pulling the code from like GitHub and deploying that, right? If we use Fargate, we are going to have to build the Docker image, and then based off that Docker image, start that image, start a container on Fargate so that it can do that, right? And the goal, the hope would be to use Terraform to manage these changes and go from there. Okay. Let me see. So yeah, that would be the goal, right? So we need to. How do we choose which one we're going to use, right? Well, I think we need to do some research. We know that both of them can do the job. We can either go through AWS Amplify, where it'll like just deploy a Node app, or we can go through Fargate, where it's just gonna deploy a container, and like both of them would work great, right? And there's probably other ways, and we can probably like go with one, right? And then from what we learned there, we can adjust and go with the other. I like the idea of containers, but there's also costs associated with all that stuff. So one thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to log into AWS, and we will explore. We're going to get the cost explorer, right? I think that'll be a good way to see what we'll go with, right? So let's go to console.aws and let me log into AWS. Let me get my multi-factor authentication code. All right, we are in AWS. And so, let's see. What's new in billing and cost management summary? Refresh navigation. All right, cool. So, as we can see, EC2 is always the bulk of our charges, right? But let's go here. So we barely pay anything for AWS Amplify. In September, 9 cents. Because to me, AWS Amplify is just an engine, right? Let me see. Some Route 53 cost. So let's see if we can do let's look at Cost Explorer. I want I wonder if we can do let's do pricing calculator, right? Because we want to see if we can we want to try to estimate the cost, right? So let's look at the AWS pricing calculator. So estimate the cost for your architecture solution. Configure a cost estimate that fits your unique business or personal needs with AWS products and services. So let's go and so how does it work, right? So AWS pricing calculator, estimate the cost, all right? Add the service that you want, search and add AWS services that you need, configure service, view estimate totals, right? So let's go to create estimate and search. So okay, so let's go to US East 1, right? And we want to search. So let's go with AWS Fargate. See if that shows up. Oops. So AWS Fargate, let's configure. And let's call this Tech Barbarians software. And the region is US East 1, Linux. Here we go, ARM. I think we need one of these. Enter the time. Let's see. Let's go with 1. Average duration. Enter the time period for which your task or pod's running. Pricing is per second with 1 minute minimum. Let's see if it is that right. So 1 vCPU, memory allocate. It doesn't need that much memory, so let's go with 1 gig. Okay, we'll go with 2 then. Amount of ephemeral. Let's go with 8. Ooh, okay, it can't be less than 20. So let's go with 20. And let's show calculation. So if we were to go with AWS Fargate, it would cost us approximately the number of tasks or pods per day, 730 hours in a month, 24 hours in a day. Average duration, 1 day, 24 hours. So it costs about like $28 per month if we went with AWS Fargate. So save that. And if we wanted to do AWS Amplify, number of build minutes. I'm gonna go with 5, I guess. I don't know. This thing is like, we're just gonna deploy once for my idea. Data stored per month. Let's go with 1. Data served per month. That I do not really know. Let's go with 1 again. Number of SSR requests. I don't know. Let's see what that means. SSR or SSA? SSR. Server side rendering. Okay. I don't think. I don't know. Let's go with 1. I don't know. So allegedly, AWS Amplify should cost us 24 cents a month, right? To get started. So I think hands down, it's probably better to go with AWS Amplify to get started. And then as the need arises, if we need to run this off a container, then we can definitely pivot and shift to AWS Fargate. But for the time being, I think the best call is going to be to go with AWS Amplify. As the app that we're building, it's mainly a single page. It is gonna have a database component to it at some point, but just not now. And then, if necessary, we can then shift to another infrastructure. And that's one of the reasons that you shouldn't have your your infrastructure tightly coupled with your code, right? You should be able to deploy your application anywhere, and then adapt infrastructure to your application, and not your application to your infrastructure, right? So that is what we have determined. So right now we are going with AWS Amplify, and then as we get new information or new requirements, things like that, then we can go ahead and pivot to another another infrastructure implementation. But for the time being, we are going with AWS Amplify. All right. So with that being said, we have our cost. We use the cost explorer. Let's close this out. And what I found was this is the Terraform code for setting up a AWS Amplify server. So we are going to let me let me open the software that we're going to write our Terraform code. We're going to be using WebStorm because, like I said, the application is written in Express for now, because we might switch to, or we will switch to Flutter once we start building like the whole mobile application portion of it. But for now, this is just a regular basic responsive HTML site that we are going to be using. Okay. So where do we go from here? So looking at what we have here. All right, so let's look at this real quick, right? We're going to look at a couple of different things. We're going to go in here and we're going to type in inside AWS console, AWS Amplify. And as you can see here, we have our time value calculator app, which was successfully deployed 102 days ago. And if we were to go to a host web app, we would choose the repository that we're getting it from, or the repository. So GitHub, you can choose from different ones, but we're going to GitHub. We should start looking into AWS Code Commit as well to see how that works. Is that an alternative to GitHub? But AWS hosting Amplify hosting requires read-only access to your repository. If we were to go here, and then we're going to have to make a connection. Do I want to do this yet? I don't mind doing that. But let's say we have that, and we would choose our repository. Let's see. You don't see repository. If you don't see your repository in the drop down above, ensure Amplify has permissions to the repository. You could have permissions. Install AWS. Let's install it here because we're going to, I don't think we'll be able to do this part through Terraform. So we are giving it access. And it says, let's use GitHub Mobile. Let's see here. So where is it? Let's see. We sent you a verification request on your GitHub Mobile into additions. So, I don't see where to see it. Let's see. Okay, there we go. And we're in. Okay. Authorization field. Let's see. All right, cool. So we have all of our stuff here. Cool. So if we were to go to the poopy pants quote generator is what we're doing. Select a branch, we select main. And if we go to next. So app name poopy pants quote generator, that can stay as it is. Build and test settings. I never put any of these there, but okay. Let's go to next. So one thing that's missing is there's a environment parameter that we would need to pass that I didn't see it ask for it anywhere. Let me see. Maybe. Let's see, advanced settings. Oh, we could use so we can use a Docker image here apparently. Add environment variables to save secrets and API keys that you don't want to store in your repository. That might be it here where we need to put it. That's interesting that we could do this here. So now the question is, which way do we want to go about this? Use our default
Lunch
build
break.
container.
Lunch
provide
break.
code. So let me see what else we have on our agenda, and then we will go to our break and go from there. So on our agenda, so we did the cost explorer. We reviewed our options, and if you have any better options as well, I mean, then don't hesitate to suggest it. Like I mentioned, we can definitely deploy and then we can pivot as necessary. One thing I also have to do is set up the subdomain that we're going to be using for this. But let's go to. All right. So when we come back, we are going to discuss why did we choose Amplify, which I think that was very clear on why we chose Amplify over Fargate for now. And like I said, we can always pivot as necessary, and we'll continue. All right. So let's go to break, and let's throw up a 5 minutes on the clock. Cool. So hopefully so far you see where we're heading. Hopefully you find that helpful and informative, of course. And I don't know, what your experience is with Terraform, what your experience is with AWS Amplify, with AWS Fargate. I kind of ended up using AWS Amplify by chance when I was trying to deploy the time cost calculator. But and it got to a point that I thought it wasn't even running, but then talking to my good friend Natasha, I wanted to show it to her. I'm like, oh wow, this thing has been running forever since, so that's pretty cool. And with AWS Amplify, one thing I like about that is we can deploy different test versions of our app, and we can do that using so we can say use the branch of dev, right, the development branch, to host our dev version of the app, so we can do our testing there. We should also be able to deploy branch-based testing. So what is branch-based testing, right? So listen up.
Message.
Let's say we do our development on a branch name So let's say you name it like a story number, a story name and number, right? So for instance, we have a story that might be like PPQ6, right? So PPQ6 build web, right? And you can deploy, you can say, all right, I want to spin up this branch. You can do it either that through Docker, or you can start the application on that branch, and you can do all your testing there. And once that testing is successful, then you can go ahead and merge it into the dev branch or the staging branch or the production branch. It just depends, right? But that's what the branch-based testing would be, and how that would be that way we separate our testing. So because we're not just going to be testing in production, especially after you deploy, then you need to make sure before you deploy to production that everything is clean and on the up and up, instead of like, we'll do it live. We do not just do it live, all right? So definitely, if you are in QA or in development, definitely consider branch-based testing, because I wouldn't even merge it into development and then test, right? Because development should be like one step before production or the main branch. So you want to make sure that you test on the branch first, whether you're doing that through Docker, whether you're doing that through starting the application locally. But you want to make sure that the branch is clean, and then you deploy into the dev branch, and then you do another round of testing in dev, and then if everything is good there, then you can deploy into the main branch and you do another round of testing there. So just keep that in mind to have proper testing practices. It can be a bit tedious, right? Because a lot of times, like, the devs just have to develop once and then they can move on. But for QA, for us testing engineers, we need to be able to have validation in multiple areas, and that's where automation becomes very, very handy, very, very important. Because in the dev branch, right, you can have it tested and everything like that. You have your automation written, and now when you deploy into the or on your branch-based testing, you have everything done, tested, automated, and everything. Now, when you deploy into dev, now you just have to run your automated tests on the dev branch to make sure that things are still working as expected, as it did on the branch-based testing. And then once you deploy that functional code into the main branch, you should also be running your automation test there as well, and everything should pass there as well. Like, you should get the same results across different branches, so definitely keep that in mind. That is the goal that we are always aspiring to, that wherever our software lives, our test should continue to pass regardless. All right. So with that being said, just wanted to share.
Move on, back to work, chop chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
I just wanted to share that with you. Like, your approach to testing really, really matters. All right. So as we get going again, I'm going to put up another 20 minutes on the clock.
Let's go! Let's go!
So why exactly did we choose AWS Amplify over AWS Fargate? And it is a very, very simple reason, right? The pricing. Simple as that. It was the pricing. It was it's a lot cheaper to use AWS Amplify if you can, for your needs. Like, our needs right now will be satisfied with AWS Amplify. And the main goal is just to get the application deployed. And from what I'm seeing right now, and I could be wrong, right, but I can use, like, let's say because we don't have a database set up yet, right? I mean, don't worry about that, right? But the quotes are hosted somewhere, but eventually we plan on going to, like, maybe a MongoDB or what is the name that AWS document DB, right? But right now we don't have that. But at least the main goal is to get a working application up so that the work that they've done can be visible, and then we can continue to expand. Because my number one goal is to have a application that the tech barbarians have developed, right? To have something that they've developed so that they can have things to talk about and say, oh yeah, I did this, I did that, and everything like that, right? So that is why we're going like to this basic MVP with real technology, real software. Stephanie worked on the she worked on like the web, the HTML and the JavaScript, right? And I took what she worked on and then I modified it to fit into the backend of the application. One of my QA tech barbarian did the QA, right? Right now she's working on automating the test for it, right? And like the whole team, they worked on like, all right, what's the best database? What's the best what's the like how can we test this locally? How can we test this with Docker? They're getting fluent in Docker. So by them having an actual application out on the web, that gives them things to talk about with anyone, especially when they go on these job interviews, or talking to recruiter, talking to hiring manager, talking to the teams that they'll be working on. So yeah, I built this. Oh, you can pull it up. This is the concept of it. These are the technologies used behind it. This is my contribution to it. I researched this. All these things that you put together, and then that actually shows that you know what you're talking about and that you actually putting in the work, right? It's not the type of internship where it's something that you're just doing something. It's actually like you're getting your hands dirty with real technology. My tech barbarians, they use Docker, they use Node, they use Express. They do the work, right? So and that's why we are working on deploying this, and then we will. So once we have something out there, then we'll continue to make it better, right? That's the Scrum procedure, the Scrum goal. Make it work, make it better. That's software development right there. Okay. So, I want to. So we were looking at this, right? Because we could do it this way, right? But I think we should also look at if we can do it in AWS Amplify, or if we can set up AWS Amplify with Terraform. So here is so let's read this real quick, right? The resource AWS Amplify app provide an Amplify app resource, a full stack serverless app hosted on AWS Amplify console, right? So example usage. So resource AWS Amplify, of course. Example. So the name of the app, okay, and then the repository, the default build spec added for React, okay. I don't know if we really need any of that, but that's yarn. I think ours is going to be npm start, but that's cool. Environment. So here, okay, so our environment variable, custom rule, target. If you create a new Amplify app with the repository argument, you also need to set an OAuth token or access token for authentication. For GitHub, a personal access token, and set access token as follows. So we need a GitHub personal access token. You can omit access token if you import an existing Amplify app created by the Amplify console using OAuth authentication. Not sure about that part itself, but I think we can get started and see what we run into. And everything we can get started, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to swoop over to the other screen. Let me close all of these things out. So let's do a git status real quick. And the readme. So let's go ahead and get branch. What branch are we on? All right. So what is the readme? So let's go to the readme real quick. All right, so let's do git status, git commit m. We're going to commit the readme file. All right, so now git checkout. Let's git push. And let's do git checkout main, git merge, or let's do git pull. Because from hold on a second. Let's do git branches. And I want to pull the latest branch. All right, so we have the latest. And I want to get merge that readme file from here. That works. All right, cool. So git status. And we can do git push. All right, so if we go to, all right, so I just got a notification on my phone that it was something was pushed. So we are good. Now, let's get into terraforming. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna try to use what we've learned in the past. We're gonna go to new directory Terraform. And we are going to do a new file called variables.tf. Well, let's start off with this, right? We're going to start off with pp pants.tf. All right, so we have our Terraform file, and we're going to install the Terraform plugin for WebStorm, which is what we're using. Okay. And we're also going to create a new file called poopypantsprovider.tf. So we're gonna need we also need is a Terraform cheat sheet. Like, here are the things we need to get started in like when creating a Terraform plan. So AWS, and we need AWS or access key and secret key. All right. So we have that. And we need the region as well, right? So these things we're gonna have to fill in, right? Another thing I learned as well, working this week, right? Because I had all this stuff like written out, but then I was getting this formatting error when going through GitHub. There is a nifty little thing. If you go right click here and you go to Terraform to format file, and it'll clean it up for you, right? So there's that. All right. So now we're gonna go to we're just create another thing for file, and we're gonna call this variables .tf, right? Might have to have a different name, but that's fine. So we can always rename that if we need. So what I'm gonna do is variable so access key and type string default, and then key will, or I'll fill this in after, and then we're gonna go for variable secret key type string default secret key will go here. All right. And then we're gonna go with variable AWS region and type string default US East 1. All right. So we have this, and we're gonna say here, we're gonna say var dot AWS region, and here we're gonna say var dot AWS secret key, var dot AWS access key. Right. And as you can see, I am doing a lot of this stuff just from it clicking, right? Just from using it for the past few months. I've gotten this far with our Terraform plan, right? We have our variables, we have our provider, and now we have our plan. Well, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add to the git ignore Terraform. And we're going to say Terraform variable.tf, right? And I'm going to say git status, and I'm going to say git add dot git ignore. See, I want to so we're going to unstage our variables file because that one shouldn't be in the git add, git restore Terraform variables right? So let's get that out of there. Now that we have that out, it's not going to, because of the git ignore, it's not going to show it here, right? Because we don't want to push our our AWS credentials to GitHub, right? So Terraform should be able to pull from there. I'm not going to do the remote state at this point because I would have to go look into how we did that, get it on S3. But for what we're doing, this is good enough for now. We can always update it later on, right? So here we are. So now if we go back, so we have our variables. We need to add our access key and our secret key. But there's no rush to do that right now. We need to, so we can close the git ignore. So we can actually close this. And let's say we say the provider. I don't think we need to put provider because we have the other stuff. But let's say, so now I'm going to be looking, I'll be going, like my eyes will be going back and forth looking at the code that they have for AWS Amplify, right? So resource to start off, right? And we say AWS Amplify app. And we can call that poopy hats quotes. Poopy fans quotes app, right? And we call the name poopy hats quote app. And repository. So the repository, let me pull up GitHub to get that. So there goes the private repo. And I'm going to copy this thing over here. Actually, I'm going to copy it from here. So, I'm going to copy what was auto detected when I used the when I was like, so I'll just show you, right? So it is, so the default one is this, right? But we want to use I'm gonna copy this one because this is what, like, when doing it through the site, this is what was what's the word they used? This one was auto detected
Lunch
for
break.
our
Lunch
apps
break.
for our apps build setting, right? So I'm gonna copy this one instead. Here. And then see how this has. So let's just type this in real quick and then we can go to break, right? So we are going to say in here, repository, and build spec. EOT. And then we are going to drop that in there. And then we're going to say EOT as well. And I'm just going to say format this file. I don't fully formatted it way that it should. So let's grab this right here. And cool. All right, that should do it. That should do it. All right, let's go to break. Let's go to break. All right, so I'm gonna put 5 minutes up on the clock while we take a break. It's good stuff. Good stuff. I'm having a great time doing this. All right, so let's see. My brother wrote me. He says, Operation Tech Takeover said, I know this is kind of random, but what is a good resource to get back to learning Python? I haven't used it since 2008 and want to learn it better. Do you like any courses in particular? Well, Mr. Tech Takeover, great that you ask. I learned Python through a Udemy course called 100 Days of Python with Dr. Angela Yu from App Brewery. I liked the course a lot. I will say I will give a little bit of feedback on something I didn't like with the course. It's towards the end of it. It became very. They were pretty much like, like once you got to like day maybe 60, there weren't really any videos to go with. But everything up until that was like really good. Like, so for me at least, towards the end of that course, I can actually pull it up, right? I'll pull it up too. But towards the end of that course, it was very what's the word I look for? Like everything was in writing, right? And I think and for that portion of the course, it was like a lot of data and stuff with like NumPy and everything like that. And I think that part would have been really helpful to get like video assistant and walkthrough for that. But all in all, I would highly recommend the course. I still recommend it to everyone. But I like that one. But it also depends on like what part of Python that you're doing as well. Because if you are going more into like if you know Python and you're going more into like a data analytics type route, then there's a different course that I have that I'd recommend, probably like a machine learning course. That's with ZTM Zero to Mastery. Which I can show. I'll pull both of them up right now, actually. But both of them are really good courses, and you can get them for such a low entry level cost, right? So let me see. And Tech Takeover, your question is not random at all. This is exactly why I do these shows, because these are the type of questions that I'm looking for, and especially coming from you, you'll never have a random question for me, right? So this is so disclaimer, like I always say, which I'll never get my affiliates link for Udemy, but always get your courses on discount. But yeah, this is the one that I took, 100 Days of Python. And right when it gets to a few disclaimers about this course, right? It's great. It starts you off well and everything. If you're going to have to dedicate a little bit more than an hour a day, which I think you should be dedicating 2 to 3 hours a day. Not talking about you in particular, Tech Takeover. I'm just talking about people learning these things in general who wants to transition, who wants to get really good. If you dedicate like 2 to 3 hours a day, you'll do like very well. Because like let's say you go through these videos at like you take an hour. I normally watch videos on 2x, so this would be like an hour and 20 minutes. I probably get through it in like 30 to 35 minutes, and then and as like the more that you know on this stuff, you get through them faster, right? But here is where it gets a little bit tricky, because there's going to be no way possible that on day because it takes you like into so many different things, right? Building a game. The snake game was fun, right? Remember when we used to play these snake games on our Nokias? Um, and but when you get to
Get a move on. Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on. Get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
let me see what you said. You said, I just want to get back to the basics. I learned it with my front end web dev, but it was not the best. I looked at free code camp, but I value your opinion on these topics. So thank you, and I appreciate that. I would recommend this course. And it does go into like this course is very comprehensive, right? And there's like different like there's like a little project you do at the end of each day. But when you like so here's about like the website, like so you build a website, you learn CSS if you don't know it already. There's some of these things that I was able to breeze through because I already knew them, but this part is really important, right? Web scraping with Beautiful Soup. Beautiful Soup is a big part of Python. This project right here was really fun, right? We created a Spotify playlist connecting to the Spotify API, and where you would gather the top 100 billboards from like previous years, and you'd scraping the Billboard Hot 100, authenticating with Spotify, creating and adding to the Spotify playlist all through APIs, creating a automated Amazon price tracker. So this was good, right? And then what I use on an everyday basis, Selenium WebDriver, right? But there's gonna be a part where you get right here, right? Did they? Wait a second. Where is it? Did they condense it? So they might have condensed it because there was a section here for like the bootstrap and stuff like that where it was super super long. But they might have fixed that. Which is good, right? Because if you can spend about 2 hours on Bootstrap, then you'll be good to go. But once it gets to around, let me see. So you see here, they stop having the right here on day 59, which is fine for a capstone project. But starting here, around here, right? They stop having like the video walkthroughs and stuff like that. Or did they add them? No, yeah, they might have added some more videos, which if they did, that'd be super helpful. But when I was doing the course, they pretty much stopped, right? But here's a good thing with this, right? They give you like 20 different projects that you can do to build your portfolio, right? So this, for instance, this capstone project predicting house prices, right? And then they have this one like creating your portfolio in Python. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, all these are to build your portfolio, right? So Python scripting, web development, building a GUI, a desktop app, data science type stuff. It was for me like maybe the course was still being built, but when I was doing the data science part, that's where like a lot of it was like you had to kind of read and figure it out yourself, which is still good, but it would have been especially if you've never done data science before, it would have been helpful to have some more guidance on there. But yeah, let me see what did you say. Let's see. They said it's been 60 days, time to sink or swim. Yeah, exactly, right? They're like, "Oh, we took you this far, figure the rest out on your own." But yeah, so I would definitely recommend this course. This one is very comprehensive. And like I was saying, if somebody was going more into the machine learning and data science part of it, I would say where is it? Oops. That one right here. That's another good one. The complete machine learning and data science bootcamp. That one is another good one. I am slowly going to this one. I got to like this part, but then I had to like pivot a little bit. But I do plan on getting back to it. But you know, and this I like this one too because especially if you're going into like data science, data engineering, they have these little projects at the end of each section where you're like doing pandas type stuff, doing NumPy projects or exercises, matplot. This one was so complicated because if you're not familiar with graphing and charts and stuff like that, this it's hard to visualize what you're doing with this one. But this one is very good. And I just have to get back to this part because I like this is the best to me. That's probably the best part, and I didn't get a chance to keep going. But it's also 8 hours long, so many like those are my two recommendations. I will let me do this. I'm going to get both of those open. All right. I'm going to let me just drop the link to both of them in the chat. And you know, hopefully one of them will be useful to somebody. But like I said, always buy them on sale. And as well, like let's say you were to go through one of these, like I'm always here whenever like you know how to contact me off YouTube. So always send me a message and we can talk and we can figure something out. All right. So do not hesitate to do that. But yeah, I would love for you to get back into development type stuff because the reason you left, right? Like that's one of the main reasons I'd love for you to get back. And we can go from there. All right. So just wanted to share that. Great question. As always, I appreciate the question. All right, let's put up another 20 minutes.
It's time to do.
All right, so we have, let's see what we're looking at. All right, so now we're going to be doing this part right here. So if it goes to a page that doesn't exist, we should redirect it to the home page. Then we need to set up our environment variable, which I could probably put that. Let's see. Let me see. Environment variables, custom image, 16. All right. Okay. So let's swoop back over here and let's continue filling this out. So custom rule. Source. And status for target index.html, I guess. All right. Let's see. We got that. We got that. And then environment variables, we have, it should be, what was the, API. Or no, that's not a Google Sheets API. It should be Google Sheets URL. Something like that, right? Because the way that I tricked it for now is we are using a Google Sheet as our, like, kind of like our API, and then like, or our database, I should say. Yeah, it's kind of like our database, right? And then we will then refactor that to use something else, right? So let's see. Let me see what operation tech takeover said. He goes, I know this is where we touched on in my bootcamp. My final project was to show which fight camp produced the most fighters that made. Oh, that's actually very cool project. I would love that. That sounds fun. You gotta show me that one. I had to learn how to use matplotlibs and graph everything. It was so frustrating because the direction we got was not clear. Yeah, I hear you. Um, I hear you. But sometimes you gotta make lemon with lemonade. Right? How about that? Sometimes you have to make a lemonade with lemons. All right. Just make sure you got it on sale. All right. Tech takeover. Make sure you got it on sale. But yeah, definitely like go through it, start going through it, and definitely hit me up and let me know how it's going. If you have any questions, I use Python every single day at work. So and when I'm not at work, I'm still using Python. So hit me up. I'm anxious to see how that goes. Also, what other during your boot camp did you use? Was it only Python, or did you use uh like Node, Express, JavaScript? Like, what was the other, like, what was the stack that you used during your boot camp? All right, let's continue with this. So we got that, we got that, we got that. I'm gonna open up this here, and I'm gonna say variable, and I'm gonna call that type. And then default. All right, cool. So we have all that set up. We have this here. And let's see if we were to do, so here we can just do all right. So we have all that. I think that should be enough to get us. Oh wait, I need the. I'm gonna need the token. Let me see. All right, so I'm gonna need a personal access token for. So let's say we do here variable GitHub PAP personal access PAT token type string default GitHub personal access token. All right, so we got that. Okay. So now I just want to do. So here we go to access token var dot. Nope, not that one. GitHub personal access token. All right, cool. So tech takeover set. So the boot camp I went to broke up into parts. Into two parts. The first was front end web dev. Learning the. Oh my goodness, the suspense! I cannot take the suspense. We shall wait for tech takeover to let us know what happened in the second part. All right. We got that. So let me see. So we need a personal access token for so I'm on the other screen trying to get this access token for let's see. Let's see. Where do I get my personal access token? Settings. Let's see. Let's see here. Configure. Let's see. No, I do this. I've done this before. I'm trying to find out where exactly did I do it. Organization. No. Let's do something real quick. I'm gonna see if I type in Terraform plan here. So cd Terraform. So let's initialize this for Terraform. What happens here? So Terraform plan. So we need our key for Terraform or for AWS. So let me do this. Let me get that information. Cat AWS credentials. Just take you to I do this over here. We will use our Terraform credentials. Yes, yeah, that works. Let's change this later. Okay. So let's go here. All right. So let's try again to do our Terraform plan. See what happens now. So this would actually work, right? But we want to put in our Google Sheets URL. All right, cool. So back over here, let me get that information. Where do I have that information? That is a good question. Okay. Let's see. All right, so let me see what Tech took over said. He said the boot camp he went to was broke up into two parts. The first, front end web dev, learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Cool. Okay. And the back end was Python, SQL using Anaconda and some NumPy. I did better when I was with the mentors and could go through it together. The bootcamp used Treehouse for the learning platform. It was not a good learning platform for me. I struggled through it, only understood the concepts when we had our meetups and could work with someone and watch them code, then it would click for me. That's why I stopped pursuing the developer track because I felt that I was not smart enough. Well, that's definitely not true, but like I was not smart enough to get it without major help, and I was getting beat up in Stack Overflow. You know, they yeah, they can be a little tough on there. All right, that's very very good insight. Very. We'll talk some more. We're definitely gonna talk some more about that. Um, yeah, I'm gonna leave that there for now. But I'm gonna hit you up this week. I'll hit you up this week, and we can have some conversation. All right. Now I need to get this URL. Where do I have it? So, we have that. I need this token. All right, let's find this token real quick. Setting up a personal access token. Mm, where do you? It, settings. Developer. Okay, cool. So, let's go here. Let me see if I can find this thing. Settings. Developer settings. Personal access token. Generate a personal access token. All right. So give me a name. All right. That's what it is. Let's see. Let's try this one. So pants AWS Amplify. Okay, so I'm creating it. That's why I'm not showing the screen. Repository access. I just wanted to get to one particular repository. And just need read access. Let's see. Content read only. All right, cool. I think that's what I need. So I just set it up in GitHub. And let me document this real quick. Keys.
Lunch break! Lunch break!
All right, so now I'm gonna dump that real quick into my variables file. And lastly, I need to get the sheets URL. So then we'll go to break. Then we'll come back for one more segment, see if we can deploy this thing. Who knows, right? Who knows? Right. Got that. Close this up. Okay. Okay. So I think we have gotten everything here. So if I go back to this screen here and I do another we have a plan to add this AWS Amplify. Let's give it a run, right? And we're gonna say yes. Oh, what's wrong? There was an issue setting your repository resource not accessible with resource not accessible by personal access token. Let's check our settings. Let's see if we can update these settings. Let's read this real quick. Repositories. Let's see, what am I sharing? Go here. So if we look at, try it with the fine grain one. Let's see, there's something for webhook over here. Let's say read only for webhook as well. Update. Let's go to here. All right. So if we go back over here, and we'll just do this before we go to break. Yes. Resource not accessible by personal access token. So maybe, let me see something. I'm gonna create a different token actually. And I just comment this out real quick. See what happens if we get here. Because through the error messages, that's where you learn a lot. So you need to provide one valid token. All right, let's go to break. So we are getting closer. So we know that the issue that we're currently having is that something with the access token, our credentials for AWS should be good. Oh, I just got to figure out this one token, you know? Let's see. Let's put 5 minutes up. Let's see what's going on. So, yeah, we are working. You see, Christmas Eve, we are working. We are trying to get our Tech Barbarians project up and running. You know what? I'm gonna say something to you as well, Tech Takeover. If you're still there, right? I think that I think that part of the trouble you might have had is doing projects, like trying to learn like development and stuff with some like on projects that might not mean too much to you. You know, I think that once you like, let's say you take on like you say, okay, I'm going to build some little application, right? And start small. Like once you see what I actually deploy here, you're going to say, "Oh wow, like it's really cool, but it's also it's very very cool, very useful, but also very simple, right?" And I took my Tech Barbarians. We started like in maybe beginning of September around that time, and it's like a full quarter, right? That we are actually going to be deploying something, and I would say that build something that's cool to you, and just work on it, research, try to figure it out. Like there's so many different resources that when you go to build something, build it, build like the minimum, the MVP, the minimum viable product to have something useful that you can say, okay, I did this, and then okay, now how can I make it better, right? A lot of times, like one, if it's something that we really don't have much interest in, that like for example, when I was doing some of the Python courses, it's like, oh, this analyzes data from 19 or not 19, but like 1852, and it's like, oh, this is cool, but it's like it doesn't really interest me. But like something like that UFC thing that you worked on, that sounds fun, you know. But also like just whatever interests you, you know. I'll give you an example. When so at my job, I work in a lot in like video encoding, video stuff like that, right? And what I did to get more familiar with like how the domain works, about like how streaming works, is I went on Flow Grappling, and I used that as a way to use the tools that I needed to learn at work, right? And I assumed about that, about all right, how can I see what's happening going on in the background through a couple of different tools, right? One tool called Selenium Wire and another tool called M3U8 Parser, and I'm able to see what the technology is to be able to play those files. And I use my video, the fight that I lost. I'm just testing. Right, it was a fight that I had back at Pans this year in March, right? And and like so I just build my learning to stuff that interests me, right? And that way when I get stuck, I'm even more motivated to figure it out, find a solution, and to share my solutions with like you, share it with you and whoever else, because that forces me to be able to understand this stuff a lot better. Like the way that like, I haven't, if you notice, I haven't use any of my other repository for Terraform, like the course. I pretty much got all this whole setup straight off, like using the AWS Amplify, because that one is new to us. But all the other setup is just like what the concepts that I remember. So what I would encourage you to do is like focus on the concepts, not necessarily on the like specifics, right? But focus on the concepts, and then when you get stuck, you search how to do.
Get a move on. Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on. Get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
So yeah, like you search on how to do something within that concept instead of focusing on like that very specific thing. And then like now when things deviate, then it becomes like frustrating because okay, like I wasn't ready for this deviation. What do I do with this? For me, at least, when I focus on working on the concepts, it's so broad that I can say, okay, I need to do this, right? How would I do this within this concept? And then I can search better and I find more things to do. So I don't let things get like discourage you and stuff like that, because like just talking to you, I have a inclination that because you got like frustrated and annoyed by how the boot camp and just like the whole development experience was going for you, that's why you pivoted to the SDR stuff, when at heart you really want to do development type stuff. That's what I think. I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I think at heart you're drawn to the development thing because you like to see things get created, right? You seem like very innovative, and that's why you did jujitsu, right? And you like to create stuff. You like to. So I think that in your heart of hearts that you're still in the dev side of things, but you just had a bad taste in your mouth. But have no fear, because I am here with you. All right, fam? So let you know, I'm here, whatever you need. All right, let's wrap up. Let's do our last 20 minutes, right? We need to, because I wonder if it's gonna work, right? But if not, we'll just pivot to
Let's go!
doing it manually. That doesn't work, we'll just do it manually because we're like halfway there on the AWS Amplify. Like it's already set up, but I just wanted to get out. It would suck for this token to mess us up. So let's see if we were to go to so let's go here. And let's see, provide one valid token. Of a token. So let me see if I can fix this one. Let's see. So we have this. Let's see. I don't know. So if we comment this out or comment this back in about 15 minutes into it, we will go manually if we have to. So we say this is a yes. And it says there was an issue setting up your repository, resource not accessible. Let me see. Webhooks. Let's try. Let's see. Let's try that again. So I'm just messing with the permissions at this point to see if we can get something popping. Oh, look at that. So what I did was I changed the permissions for the webhook to be read and write, and everything else is read only. So that worked, right? So now, what does that mean? I have no idea. So let's go and we're gonna look at AWS Amplify over here. Oh, it's there. Look at that. So it popped up over here, right? So if we let's look at what happens here. So we click on this. Is that the one that? Let me see. That's the one we just created because there was nothing there before. Pants quote app, and it creates it. That's about it. App setting has all of that. Just did it right now, so that's good. But let's go to post it. Amplify main management build setting. So let's see if we can. So let's see if we can do more here. Well, first, I want to see if I do a Terraform destroy. It's going to get rid of it. And go here. Oh, we got rid of it. Cool. All right, cool. So we are good here. Let's do a Terraform. So I'm going to go back to Terraform. Apply. So we know our Terraform is working as it should. And let's create it again. So that's created. So let's refresh to get our Pants app back. And let's say we do I'm curious. We go node branch auto build. True. Just because it creates it. So maybe what I'm thinking about, if maybe because I was expecting to be able to do everything here, right? However, maybe in Terraform, it might like you maybe can create it for someone to be able to take over, but like because they might not have permission to do it themselves. I don't know. Let's do connect branch, right? So let's go to let me go over. So I went here. I said GitHub. This I feel like I don't know. So let me see. View app settings. We have our repository. All this created. We just created it. Connect the branch. And I want it to be the main branch. But let me see. Let's see if we look it over here. Auto branch creation, true. Basic authorization. Um, mm, enable auto build for auto created brand. Framework for request. Kind of feel. I don't know. All right, whatever. Let's keep it moving. But we did create the Amplify with AWS. We just have to read a little bit more into it to see like what exactly that means. All right, so we got that application root. So what is that? Just save and deploy. All right, let's do that. Maybe that's what it is. Let me see. If we go to deploy, I don't see it. All right, cool. All right, cool. We're good. Save and deploy. Let's see what happens. So something is happening. So first successful build of your poopy pants quotes app. Add a custom domain with a free SSL cert. Set up a test version. We can do that later. We don't need to protect our site. Enable pull request previews. Create. Okay. The build is in process. While that's happening, I am going to open up my Dreamhost. Is it Dreamhost? I think it's Dreamhost who hosts it. Let me see. One of them has it. Let's see. Because we need to set up we're gonna set up a subdomain for now until we actually set up a let's see what we got here. All my domains in here. Okay. Let's go with add website. Create a subdomain. We're gonna do techcoachralph.dev. Next, we're gonna host it. We are going to. It's not what I want to do really. I want to do DNS. All right. So we're gonna have to do something in here for our CNAME and stuff. See, I have one for time cost. We're gonna have to do the same thing for this one. So let's go back to AWS Amplify. Oh, the build failed. Why did the build fail? What's the build error? Front end failed? Let's see. Warning. Let's see what happened. artifact directory. Let's see what we did for this one. So let's do a quick search. Deploy npm on AWS Amplify. Oh, Amazon has the weirdest explanations. Let's see. Let me see. Why CLI? Let's see. All right. There we go. Deploy Node.js Express. All right. So, I'm trying to deploy. Let's do. Let me see something. All right, cool. I think I have an idea of what's going on. If we go here, the error was npm CI. So let's go over to here and so So let's go over to here, web settings. I have my thing here. Let me see. If we go, let's try something real quick. That. Okay. Cool. So if we do
Lunch break! Lunch break!
guess I have to do it that way. All right. So now that's gonna work. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here. Spec for let's just try then. I can just do command. I think I need let's try this. npm start. So what I did was I just put here npm start. I not even need this right here. Let's see. All right, well, this is going to be the final showdown. CD Terraform. Do Terraform planning again. It will just okay. Give it a try. Let's give it a try. Yes. All right, so now if we go back to here. I re-trigger deploy build. How do I re-trigger this build? Let's see. Redeploy this version maybe. Let's see what's going on in here. Oh, this is Docker. So maybe during the week I will continue. I'll probably continue this during the week because I got to get this deployed anyways. But we are right on the brink. I am happy that we're able to do it with Terraform, so that's very good. Our Terraform game is getting stronger. Yay. Let's see what's happening. So build, let's go here. So let's see. No live updates for this build run. Back end stuff, front end stuff. So something over here with this artifact. I think we're gonna have to look into our other one to see how to. So we'll use the other app because it was a lot easier deploying the other app last year. But it is what it is. We'll finish up during the week. I have a lot of time this week, so we will definitely do that. Something over here, the artifact directory. I don't even know if I need that. But we'll look into that. It's 5 o'clock over here on the East Coast, so it's Christmas Eve. Let's go do some Christmassy stuff, I guess. So let me go back over here and get the timer off. Let me check the chat and finish up my conversation with Tech Takeover. That's why I picked sales engineer. I can get the best of both worlds. I can still have my hand in development and get high commission of sales. I didn't have the 5K for the SE boot camp. So I thought I'd get in as SDR and learn to code again on my own. Somehow I could pivot into sales engineers. Makes sense. And yes, you are correct in my feeling of emptiness. I feel like I didn't give development a fair chance because of my bad experience. It happens, but you're here now, all right? And so I did pretty good at sales in previous roles. I worked part-time at Finish Line and crushed the roles. Awesome. I won an award for selling the most in our region for the year, even though I was, damn, that's pretty, shout out to you, Tech Takeover. Sales monster. All right, cool. Well, I have plenty of time this week, so we'll definitely catch up. I want to say thank you for everyone who decided to tune in, especially Tech Takeover, for like spending the whole show with me, watching me continue to struggle through this crazy technology, but always very, very fun. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. Let me do one last check before we head off. Cool. All right, we are all good. All right, so yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in on this beautiful Christmas Eve. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Christmas Eve evening and that you have a wonderful Christmas day. I will be back live tomorrow morning for our Coffee and Kata show. And we have a special Christmas morning show. Not gonna be too long, same as we always do. Have some fun. Look at what we got for the office, for the studio, how we continue to make improvements, continue to get better. That is our goal here, continuous growth, right? Same way we have continuous delivery, continuous CI, continuous integration, CD, continuous delivery, continuous deployment. We also have CG, continuous growth. Looks like we failed today, right? We didn't get our app deployed on AWS Amplify. However, we got so close, and we are like, I did not even know I knew this much Terraform. I didn't even go to my other notes. It just all doing all this like right here. So I'm happy with our progress, happy with our growth. We're going to continue to fail forward, and we're going to win. All right. So see you tomorrow as well. Tech Takeover, and we will go from there. All right. So before we wrap up, I want to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas. Don't drink too much eggnog. All right. And yeah, if you enjoyed the show, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time we go live. Check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev. Check out the Candid Conversation coming out tomorrow at noon on Sometimes You Just Gotta Say Okay. All right. But with that being said, it's time for me to head up out of here. So one more time, Merry Christmas and have a great evening.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bowed before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination, these are the very essence of our people. The spirit of our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the price we paid, the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles call us forth. Let the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, We set our sights on new horizons. Uncharted land where our band will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.